started.
Listen, children, to a story that was written long ago about a kingdom on a mountain and a valley far below. On the mountain was the treasure buried deep beneath the stone, and the valley was for they have it for their very own. Go ahead and hurt your neighbor. Go ahead and cheat a friend. You can justify it in the end. What the trumpets blowing come the judgment day on the bloody morning after. One tin soldier rides away. So the people of the valley sent a message of the hill, asking for the very treasure tons of gold for which they will came an answer from the kingdom. Without brothers we will share all the secrets of our mountain, all the riches buried there. Now the valley cried with anger, mountain top, draw your sword. And they killed the mountain people, so they won their just reward. Now they stood beside the treasure on the mountain, dark and red. Turn the stone and looked beneath it. He saw it was all it said. God had your neighbor. Go ahead and cheer up around. You need to love and you've been justified in the end. All the other trumpets blowing on the judgment day, on the bloody morning after. One tin soldier rides away. God has a neighbor. God seen up a man. Do it in the name of heaven. You can justify it in the end. So what the angel is blowing on the judgment day. On the bloody morning after. One tin soldier rides away.
Say, listen, everybody knows that we don't generally sing about religion. But we felt this was a story that had to be told. But there's a message here for everybody, whether you're young or old. Shame on the world. Hands up here on the old woman's face. Hands up as mine. I caught it in her eyes. And she held on to her purse. And I said, Mr. Oh, Mr. Yeah, please don't do me hurt. No, no. I explained. I said, shame on the world. Jesus is coming again. Shame on the world. Tomorrow, I'm gonna work hard all day. What am I gonna buy? Tell me, with my ticket be paid. That's just what you meant. He done gone insane. And it won't be long before this supplies again. There's no time for conversation. Everybody is there. Come on and tell me. Stay on the world. Jesus is coming again. Stay on the world. Jesus, Jesus, gonna get there. What am I talking about when nobody tell me? Stay on the world. Politicians go round. Jesus is coming again. Lord have mercy. Talking, in my sleep. I'm walking in the street. I'm passing, I'm going what happened fast. All I have to hold on to is the soul.
He said, you gotta try to live it. Save me for so long.
living right. All this ups and downs. But I'm giving love. It's all that no frown. You're in trouble when you find it's hard for you to smile. A simple song will make you better. Oh, I lift you well. He said, let me hear you, girl. So much good. Everybody sing together. Time for you ladies to do your thing.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you once again who are hungry and thirsty for Allah's righteousness. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's Salam Alaikum. I was told that we have a comment that I need to address and invite that to come in and discuss it with us. Did you send an invitation to them?
Yes, sir. All three of them.
Okay. Did any one of them respond?
No, sir.
Well, I guess their comments, it's like usual, they are empty. Well, I'll let you read the three comments and then we'll erase them.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The first one is from Yusuf Muhammad, and he says, I don't understand if this guy has a higher knowledge than the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Why does he keep referring back to him? Teach your own knowledge.
Did you hear that? You know, as I, I don't know of any, this is the problem when people try to kick against. I remember when Paul said, "Is let me find it for you." You have to be careful what you let come out your mouth. There's an old saying: "It is better to remain silent and be thought of as a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt." What did you say? In Acts, the 26th chapter, Paul made the statement in the at least he quoted a revelation, when his name was Saul. Says, and when we were all, this is the 14th verse, and when we were all fallen to the earth, meaning when we had humbled ourselves, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. Huh? You know what a prick is? A prick is a sharp instrument. Anything that's sharp is generally a needle or something like that. You say, did it prick the skin? Did it, And when you got sandals on, people wore sandals in the days of Jesus. And you better be careful what you kick against. It's hard to kick against the pricks. Do you understand? So here's a man. Read his statement again.
Yes, sir. He says, I don't understand if this guy has a higher knowledge than the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, referring back to him.
Now you notice he acknowledges that I'm always referring back to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, what grade level did you ever go to that your teacher did not connect what they was teaching to what the grade level before that one? They may say, now you've learned that the prepositions and nouns and the 8 parts of speech. Now, let's go into that deeper. Now, who can repeat those 8 parts of speech to me? And then they'll make sure you kept up with that. And say, now let's use these things in sentences and paragraphs, and let's make sure that you can pick the preposition out of the sentence, the verbs, the noun, the adjectives, and stuff. But it is imperative that whenever you are speaking and claim to be the next teacher, in order for the student to trust you, the student has to know that you are connected with the teacher that they trusted before you. Remember Jesus said? He said, think not that I will accuse you unto the Father, for there's one that accuseth you, even Moses, in whom you claim to trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, because he wrote of me. What did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? He spoke about me. He said that it will come to pass that one of you wasn't there, but I was in the nation. I wasn't in the nation at the time he said it, but he told them that teaching of his was going to raise up one of the members of the Nation of Islam. That's what he told them. I'm the only one that played that back for you. Huh? But he's upset because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings bear me witness. That's like asking me, why do you go and get Jesus teachings if you got so much? What you need Jesus for? That's a fool. Huh? You see? So you can erase his foolishness. He thinks that by naming himself John Muhammad, or whatever he can name himself, that's somehow going to save him. I remember the messenger say, "Oh, did you think that the name was going to save you?" I said, no, you got to be saved by your works, you see. And that means you got to be saved by what you do when you hear the truth come to you. Will you submit or will you act a fool like you're doing? Now, what's the next one?
Yes, sir. The next one is Robert Ryan, and he left it on yesterday's meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, the black man had war before the white man got there.
And you said that to say what? Well, I thought I already said that, didn't I? We had devils. We had people practicing evil a long time before white people got here. That's why the messenger said, the white man ain't created. We made him. When you make something, you start with something. Huh? If you make a clay statue, well, once you make a clay statue, that the clay was already there. Do you understand? You didn't create the clay. The clay was already there. You just made a form or created a form you wanted to put it in. And so Yaqub thought up. He understood that you have to put, if you want a completely evil people, you ain't gonna get that in dealing with black people. You had to make you a people and feed them nothing but that wicked knowledge from the beginning. And that's what we did. That's what happened with white people. But we already had evil. The white man didn't create evil. We created evil. As Allah said, I make peace and create evil. Huh? Okay. So and I don't even know what he left that on there for. I told you these people don't listen. You know. What was you could erase that one too. What was the next one?
Yes, sir. The next one is from someone whose screen name is Firm Man. And he
Firm Man?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What Firm Man is?
And he left this on the Soul Essence video. And he says,
on what lesson?
On the Soul Essence video.
Oh, what about it?
And he says, are these Muslims? Music is forbidden for Muslims. Where's
that at? Where'd you get that one from? You say music is forbidden for Muslims. Let me see here. Over in the 100th chapter of Psalms, what's his name?
Firm Man.
Yeah, he hit it like a rock. I don't know where these people get this stuff from. But anyway, he said music is forbidden. Let's see here. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. So David was wrong to say that, right? Music is forbidden, no? Man, what planet you been living on? Anyway, don't pay these people no attention. Don't pay them no attention. That's somebody who's jealous, like these people who got so jealous of these talented people that they start talking music. You understand? They talking and calling it rap music. That's not even a true statement. You should be saying rapping or talking to music. Do you understand? Because you ain't making music with your voice. You talking. You're not singing. So, but anyway, Um, so this generation is just an untoward generation. You know why it's called untoward? It's because of the way the earth is. The earth is tilted on its axis at about 25 degrees to the plane, or to the fulcrum, as you want to call it. And as the earth goes around the sun, when the weather is warm and springtime, it's because the earth's tilt is toward the sun. But as you get to the coldness, like right now, the earth's tilt is untoward the sun. It's away from the sun. And so it's cold. You notice the people are like that now. They don't lean toward truth and righteousness, like the man just now. That's why they leave these foolish comments. And they can't come in and discuss it, because if they came in to discuss it, they would be put to shame. So, they are speaking to ignorant people. See, that wasn't even directed to me. That was directed to read it again. That first one, for instance.
Yes, sir. He says, I don't understand if this guy has a...
See, notice, he said, I don't understand if this guy has a... He's not talking to me.
No, sir.
He's talking to others. He's talking to other people, trying to turn them away from me. You understand what the next one said?
The next one was the black man had war before the white man got there.
And who is he talking to? You see, you're discovering that now in that one, he don't know what to say, because he was half listening to what I was teaching anyway. You see, when I say the white man's history is replete with war and bloodshed, meaning it's just repeated and completely filled with that. That is the most. That's the high points of his history, his wars, huh? And you notice, news is not even when you talk about news, you're not talking about good stuff. You're talking about bad stuff. That's what's happening. That's what he called news. What's happening in his world? His world is evil. So what kind of news do you expect him to bring you? Bad news, huh? And so he tell you all the bad stuff that's happening all over there. That's hit the news. So and so got bombed today. So and so got hit with rockets today. So and so got murdered today. So many people died today. Everything is bad news. Huh? Do you understand? So the most people don't even know. They talk about the gospel. Gospel means good news. And you don't want to hear no good news. How many people ever just bring you some good news in this world? Have you thought about that? A lot of times your phone rang, you ain't heard from somebody, and I don't know when. But when you hear from them, it's so-and-so died. So-and-so had a terrible accident. So-and-so had... if it ain't bad news, you don't hear from them. Huh? Okay. So what's the next one?
Are these Muslims?
Are these Muslims? Now, tell me something. Am I a Muslim? I mean, this is what. Now he ain't asking, am I a Muslim? Is he? Well, then, if I presented them to you, why would you question whether they are Muslims if a Muslim presented them to you? I didn't hear you. You see, these are the envious and jealous people that ain't got a pot to make water in and a window to throw it out of. Huh? So all nasty attitude. And if it wasn't for the internet, they wouldn't even be able to vent that. So they got a place to vent all of their nastiness and their, like the messenger say, who is the colored man? You know, that's what we was called at the time when these lessons were given. It's time for you to understand that. The 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 question was asked. One thing that helped me to understand that this is the proper understanding of it was when Minister Abdul Kareem he was talking about the messenger and what the messenger said about the black man that Allah said He was going to create. He said the messenger said the black man's mind is like a vice. That if you start him off in the wrong direction, it's hard to turn him around. He said, and if you start him off in the right direction, it's equally hard to turn him around. Then he said, but some of us, we kind of wishy-washy. So he made a distinction between a particular black man and the rest. And talking about us. And when Master Farad Muhammad came and began teaching the messenger, he asked the messenger the question, and the messenger answered him when he asked, who is the original man? The messenger's answer was, the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. He said, well, who is the colored man? The colored man is the Caucasian white man in black skin, or Yakub's grafted devil, the skunk of the planet Earth. You see how nasty your attitude is? Your attitude stinks. That's why people don't care nothing about you. Because everywhere you go, they want to run you out of there because your attitude's so nasty. The messenger said that Allah told him, he said, they all love you all. He said, but they can't stand your insults. So they say, oh, to hell with them. They ain't but a few. This is just. So the job is left on you and me. He said, and when I finish teaching you, you will be able to get them all. You will be able to get them all. That don't mean you will get them all. But you notice, I am able to get everybody. I done got you all to shut up. You ain't got no argument to present to me. That's why you keep on trying to talk to people. Or you try to leave a note or something to people to try to drive them away from listening. But you don't come in here and let them hear you arguing with me. Because you can't argue with me. And you know, when people can't argue, when they can't find a justifiable argument against you and yet won't accept you, then that is what we mean when we say the skunk of the planet Earth. Because naturally, a person that cannot refute what you say, when they can't find fault in what you say, if they are a reasonable person, they don't cop an attitude. They humble themselves to you. But you cop an attitude. and your attitude stinks. The skunk of the planet Earth. So, so I'm not here to leave you like that. I could help you change, but the messenger said some of our people are so dumb that God Himself can't help them, and He left that word here for me, and He let me know that you ain't gonna be able to help all of them. Well, that's the truth. So, so I'm going to let you hear. This is my advice to all of you who like to leave comments on our videos. You know that I'm going to, when you leave a comment, I'm going to invite you when your comment is some critique or disagreement, or I should say, non acceptance of what I'm teaching. I'm going to invite you to come in here and defend what you left on there. And if you're not planning on coming in here and defending it, don't leave a comment. Just ease on down the road. Huh? Because it's not going to remain on our videos. We're going to take it off. And if the same person keeps leaving those things on there, I'm going to cast you into hell. And I don't have to see you. I don't have to know your name. All I have to do is say the one that did this, to hell with you, and put amen on there. And Allah said He will uphold my words. So ain't no hiding place. You throwing rocks and thinking you can hide? No, you can't. These creatures that you breathing in, that's giving you life, you call them air. Okay. And for your understanding, Allah is in every respiratory system. So you be careful. Like I told you, I'm tired of disrespect. I'm not disrespectful, which means I don't deserve being disrespected. I've shown you more respect than any of the teachers that you have out here, because I'm the one teacher that you can stop him in the middle of his class and argue with him. You can stop me at any time and question me about what I'm teaching. Who else does that? Now, I've respected you as a thinking human being. I've given you the freedom to come into my class and openly disagree with me in front of the whole student body, which tells you that I'm not on no ego trip. Now, for you to come in here and leave insults and all that kind of thing, I'm sick of it. Now, I've been warning you and warning you and warning you. Sooner or later, If you just keep warning people what you're going to do, and you don't ever do it, they don't take your warning seriously. I'm warning you. If you don't want to defend what you say about me in print, don't print it. Now you suit yourself. Now don't say I didn't warn you. You gonna be getting chastised, and you ain't gonna know what happened to you. You ain't gonna even know where it come from, because you do so much evil to so many people. I'm not the only one you disrespect. Every place you go and you hear somebody saying something that you don't understand or that you don't agree with, you throw an insult at them. Well, I tell you what, I ain't the one you want to do that to. Yeah. Now, let me let you hear this interview that Dr. Fauci had.
Blown across the Pacific.
One of the most dangerous things that you.
Whispers in the wind.
You might say that in his battle against COVID, Dr. Anthony Fauci is fighting a war on two fronts, against the virus and an equally tough struggle against misinformation. Senior contributor Ted Koppel visited Dr. Fauci at home to get this battle report.
Every 12 minutes, someone dies. Every 12 minutes, someone dies.
More than 30 years ago, Dr. Anthony Fauci was being demonized by AIDS activists for not doing enough.
Tony, all of that is bureaucratic bullshit, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
These days, the ranks of Fauci critics have multiplied.
And this demon doctor must never be allowed to escape justice.
But if anything, in this age of COVID, the charge now is that Fauci has done too much.
Here's a guy who fully expected to spend his life giving prostate exams, and there he was declaring the ancient Christian calendar null and void.
When you see the "Thank you, Dr. Fauci" signs, does that shelter you a little bit?
It does. I mean, the fact that you know that people really care about you and understand what you're doing really deflects a lot of the crazy attacks that you get.
But after nearly 2 years of COVID, 750,000 Americans killed by the pandemic, and an unrelenting assault on his competence and honesty, does Dr. Fauci have any second thoughts about the past and fresh thoughts about the next time? Could it have been different if the president had led in a different way?
The answer to that is yes. But when you have leadership, denying that something is as serious as it is, then you have a real problem. So in that respect, it could have gone differently.
Does it border on the criminal?
I wouldn't say that, because, that generates a lot of, unnecessary soundbiting. It's something as a public health official, in my mind, is serious. For example, one of the things that to me was most...
You notice, Dr. Fauci didn't say that it was not criminal. He said he wouldn't say it. You see, that's called staying in your lane. You understand? He's a scientist. But we know that there are laws called, one law in particular called criminal negligence. You understand? You see, when you are in a position that you are responsible like the President of the United States. The President of the United States is responsible for the security and safety of the United States and its people. That's why he is given such broad latitude and such broad power. And for him to acknowledge that he played down the dangers of a deadly virus, of a pandemic, and acknowledge he'd like to play it down. Huh? That is criminal negligence. Over 750,000 American citizens have died. From a virus that should have and could have been brought under control if the President of the United States and many of those in the legislature had got out of the scientists' way and let the scientists dictate what needed to be done, and they and gave those directives to the Americans. Do you understand? But I'm going to back that up just a little. And as you can see, Dr. Fauci, he takes serious his profession. And that is combating viruses, things that can plague humanity. And regardless to what people say about him, he don't desert his post. Because people talking about you and whining about you and lying on you that does not properly relieve you from your duty that your knowledge places upon you. Truth is not governed by majority rule. Do you understand that? When you know the truth compels you to speak and to act responsibly. Because knowing the truth gives you the ability to properly respond. Regardless to how many people don't like your response. Do you understand? Children oftentimes understand this. It is not an insult to you to call you a child. When you enter into an arena that you are not knowledgeable of, whether you like it or not, you are reduced to the level of a child. And children oftentimes, most often than not, always disagree with the decisions that adults make. An ignorant mind cannot concede and agree quickly with a knowledgeable mind. Until faith enters. Do you understand? When Moses was traveling in search of knowledge and ran into the wise man, and asked the wise man to let me walk with you. And the wise man told him, no, you're not going to be able to be patient with me. And Moses said, oh yeah, you find me patient. He said, well then you promise me that you will not question or speak to me about anything you see until I myself speak with you about it. Moses said, you find me patient. First thing the man did, Moses said, why did you do that? He said, I told you wasn't going to be able to be patient with me. And, that's, just because something appears wrong, it does not make it wrong. And just because something appears to be right does not make it right. Appearances can be deceiving. Huh? You see that in nature all of the time, especially in the insect world. You got some little creatures like that. They got a mantis that looks like a stick. And he can creep up on other little creatures. They think there's a stick there. Next thing you know, he got them and eating them. Huh? So appearances can be deceiving. You can't always trust your physical, your natural eyes. That's why you have a mind that is there to interpret what the eyes are seeing or bringing it to focus. The eyes don't interpret anything. They just bring things into focus. It's up to the interpreter, the mind, to determine what's really being brought into focus. Huh? There you go. So,
been different if the president had led in a different way?
The answer to that is yes. But when you have leadership, denying that something is as serious as it is, then you have a real problem. So in that respect, it could have gone differently.
Does it border on the criminal?
I wouldn't say that because, that generates a lot of, unnecessary soundbiting. It's something as a public health official in my mind is serious. For example, one of the things that to me was most difficult to accept is that we put together a good plan for how we were going to try and dampen down the spread of infection early on, thinking that that was accepted by everybody. And then the next day, the president saying, free Michigan, free Virginia. I didn't quite understand what the purpose of that was, except to put this misplaced perception about people's individual right to make a decision that supersedes the societal safety. That, to me, is one of the things that I think went awry in all of this.
That's one of the things that I think I learned in elementary school, the precept of. And that is that your freedom stops where another person's freedom begins. Your freedom is not the freedom to endanger others. In a civilized society, every member of society must understand that. That's part of being civilized. That there's no such thing as a society where everyone is free to do whatever they please. That's a jungle. So human beings, we are not animals. You see, you have been convinced by this beast, man, this man who lives his life on the level of a beast and has convinced you that man is of the animal family. Man is not of the animal family. Man is not an animated malcontent. This is, once you are convinced that you are of the animal family, then it's easy to justify acting like an animal. That's how the devil said he would do you. He would make evil fair seeming to you. He couldn't do that unless he first tricked you into thinking that you are something that you are not. Why do you think the book says that this world was set up for the perdition of ungodly men? If you teach a human being that they are of the animal family, you are making them ungodly. God is not an animal. Let us make man in our image after our likeness. What animal do you know of that's anything like man? Name him. Animals have to adjust to their environment. If man don't like his environment, he can change it. I didn't hear you. Man can turn a desert into a garden. What animal do you know of that can do that? Huh? Have you found in the animal kingdom cities, towns? Yeah, well, an ant farm, yeah. What else they got going? They are limited. And once you study them, you know what they're going to do before they do it. I didn't hear you. Man, it's not like that. That's what's we've been working on for the longest, to develop our fullest potential. And our fullest potential is unlimited. When you talk about computers, comparing computers to the human brain, the computer ain't nothing close to a human brain. And never will be. We have the capacity that the more you teach us, the more space is created for learning. You notice, you talk about megabytes and gigabytes and all of that, but you run out of bytes. You got to add some more to it, don't you? We are like, our brain is like the universe. The more you take the material in the universe and take it and put it together to make something, that space that it was occupying, that area of space that it was taking up, now a vacuum is created, more space is made. The more you put matter together, the more space is created. The more you put knowledge in us, the more space you have to put more knowledge. Do you understand? Man, we are not animal. We are man. Never forget that. And once you recognize that you are not an animal, you will, by the nature of your thinking, will change, and you will think that to conduct yourself as an animal is beneath your dignity. And it is. So, but anyway, you know, ignorant people that are willfully ignorant always resent intelligent people. And they always seek and ultimately fail to undermine those who are more intelligent than them. Because in order to be successful at undermining someone who is wiser than you have to become equal or greater in wisdom than them. Only a fool picks a fight with someone who is wiser than themselves. A wise man, he don't have to threaten you. He don't have to do nothing but make a plan that you are unaware of, that he can plan it right in front of you and you'll never know what he was doing until you fall into the trap that he set for you. You better be careful picking fights. You better be careful who you make an enemy. All right. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Raised that with President Trump?
You know, I didn't have the opportunity to raise it. I was sort of like shocked, and then I didn't speak to him for some time after that. But it was at that point that I realized that I would have to just get out there myself and say things that clearly were going to be contradictory. I'm not totally sure what the president was referring to, that it was much worse than we're saying it was, that it's not going to go away tomorrow. It's not going to disappear like magic.
Because, you know, this virus is going to disappear.
And unfortunately, you know, that alienated me among certain people in the White House. Not necessarily the president himself, but he.
Now, even him sitting there talking about this virus is going to disappear. No one would believe he knew what he was talking about, but somebody that's dumber than him. Viruses don't just disappear. Polio didn't just disappear. Measles and mumps, they didn't just disappear. Vaccines were brought into existence that changed them and changed their makeup when inside of your body to a harmless state. Do you understand? They didn't disappear. They're telling you right now that the chickenpox virus is, yet if you had it, it's still in you and could flare up to shingles. Huh? Why did it just disappear? There ain't no such thing as matter that just disappears. Matter cannot be destroyed. It can't be made to disappear. It can change its form, but it's still here. Didn't you learn that in science class? Matter can neither be created nor can it be destroyed. It can only be made to change forms. Huh? So your immune system, like you notice, when they was asking Jesus about the resurrection, and Jesus, they brought him the story about the woman that had 7 brothers who was her husband, and each brother married the same woman, and they all died, and then finally the woman died. They asked, well, who's in the resurrection, whose wife will she be? Jesus said, you do err, not knowing the power of God, not knowing the knowledge of God, that in the resurrection, don't nobody get married, nor are they given in marriage. The resurrection is a class. and they all become as the angels. The angels were taught. The resurrection is this classroom that's being held there. But now, as touching on the resurrection of the dead, he said, have you not read where Moses showed at the bush that God said, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob? He said, well, he is the God of the living, not of the dead. Well, if you understand that, then you notice all matter is eternal. We are made from material that you cannot destroy. We are from everlasting material. And when we can't hold this form anymore, the material that is everlasting, it goes on into some other creation that's everlasting, that is made because it is everlasting material. Do you understand? Is there anyone who disagrees with that? From everlasting to everlasting. Huh? Now, as you think over that, you start to realize that we've missed something here. The mind, you say mind is over matter, and we are living proof of that. Is that right? Okay. Even a dog, a cat, they all have a little mind, but their minds are what you call programs. And so they unless we decide we want to teach them a little something else. Do you understand? But they are on a program. And that's how you can gain dominion over them, because of their limited thinking, their limited program. And you can manipulate them because you know how they will react. If you study them long enough, you will know what will make them react in certain ways, and you can you can bend them to your will, and they will never know that they are that you are dominating them. Do you understand? Now, why is that? All matter is living material. The Holy Quran hints at it when it says, be ye stones or iron or some other creature that is hardest to be raised. Huh? Okay. Now, And when I first heard that, I said, wait a minute, this is confusing. And then I thought about it. If iron is not a creature, if iron is not alive, why do we need iron in us in order to live? If iron is not alive, then why is it that you got people that's great big people, but they can walk around and get around just as good in many cases as someone that's not real big? Do you understand? It's because the mind that's in them is instructing all of the matter that's in their body to move just like the mind that's in you, the mind that's in the dog and everything else is instructing all of the matter that's in that body. The mind is instructing it to move. Do you understand? Now, so the mind is called the Father, because as the Father is, the flesh is weak. As the woman is the weaker vessel, then the man is the maintainer of the woman. And in order to maintain the woman has to agree to be obedient to the man. Do you understand? Okay. In order for the flesh to be maintained, it must be obedient to the mind that is the Father. Do you understand? Okay, now, as we study that, what father does not love all of his household? Don't he love all of his children, his wife, his children, and everyone in his household? He loves his house even. He tries to maintain that house, doesn't he? Okay. Since all matter is under God and all matter is living material, then when the scripture says that God is the God of the living, not of the dead, well, now you see why your immune system was not actually designed to kill, convert them, and to make peace between elements. Huh? Because the Father don't want none of his family to die. Huh? So it's not about killing the virus. It's about bringing it into harmony. So instead of harming the body, it protects the body from the ones who would come in there and just start setting up shop, doing stuff that's counterproductive. Huh? Yeah. It's like I was telling you, it's like those who, you got some people that just naturally can fight, just love to fight. Well, them is the people that need to make up the military, need to make up the police force and all that kind of thing, and be taught, be given us a knowledge to protect and serve others. If your toughest people are in the military and your toughest people are on the police force and whatnot, then when the toughest ones are out there protecting and serving and really are doing that, when they get up on a call, they ain't scared when they get up there, and because whoever they have to go check on ain't gonna frighten them, and they gonna tell them, now look, y'all got to stop this, and they gonna get cooperation, because you can tell when somebody ain't scared of you, huh? You ain't got no wolf ticket to sell somebody who just I mean, they the wolf. So I kind of like that thing in American Sniper when the young man was sitting at the table with his daddy, and he said, "We ain't got no sheep in this family. There ain't no sheep in this family. I mean, it's people that you could just run over." He said, "And I'll beat the hell out of you if you become a wolf." He said, "No, we'll be a sheepdog." Huh? Meaning what? You will protect those who others prey on. And so that just, I like the way he had put that. And so um, this is whatever your aptitude, your natural aptitude is where you will, they kind of do that in the military. You know, when you go in the military, they give you tests and whatnot. I wasn't aware of that until after I thought about it, especially after I became a Muslim. I thought about how did I get assigned as a 2111 instead of an 0311. And, you know, because most of the brothers was being put as 0311s, but I guess they saw in my aptitude that I was not a killer. You know, that I wouldn't be that type of person. I'm always thinking, just like when it came time for the hand to hand or the knife against the bayonet and whatnot. You know, I just run in and run into the fella. I tried, you know, I was standing back waiting for my opening and whatnot, and that didn't work so well. But anyway, you know, I just wasn't the kind of person that just run into somebody. I have to think my way through it, and so it is. Some people are just not cut out to do certain things, and so you know, your military occupation is a good example of picking and choosing the right person for the right occupation. You see, I think the whole society could learn something from the way the military functions. The guidance counselors in high school and in junior high school and whatnot, I think it should start all the way back at elementary. And you find out what the aptitudes of children are, and then encourage them when you look at their grades and whatnot and look at what they're interested in. But you're never going to get that. You're never going to get the real truth as long as children feel threatened by other children in school, and there's no real camaraderie there where you teach the children to respect each other and to protect one another instead of harming one another. And so you live in a world where people don't feel safe around other people. And that just should not be so. But reality is that people need to change. And the only way you can change people is you must change what people think. They must be fed a different diet of knowledge. And this civilization capitalizes off of human beings. You see, but the world that I'm bringing in is not going to be like that. And make no mistake, I'm not going to fail to bring in the new world. I'm just the firstborn of many brethren. There's many people starting to listen to me, and they are learning, and they are going to help me to bring in a better world. And if you don't want to be part of it, the world that you in right now, it is imploding. Soon the mind that you have, if you don't change it, you're not going to have a mind. Now, I've warned you. I've warned you and warned you and warned you.
He unleashed, people like Peter Navarro out there writing editorials that I didn't know what I was talking about. He had his comms people do opposition research on me. Could you imagine that? I've never heard of that, doing opposition research on one of your own civil servants. How does that happen?
At the time, the Trump White House denied that there had been any opposition research targeting Fauci.
There's no opposition research being dumped to reporters.
But over time, criticism has taken its toll. You're losing ground in public polling.
Yeah.
A couple of polls lately
Right.
have begun to indicate that people are losing faith.
Right.
Are you just preaching to the choir these days?
Now, what that opposition research was, that's just another way of saying that they supposed to all be on the same team, and yet they were doing research of how to undermine the people's trust in Dr. Fauci. Do you understand? And that is what Jesus talked about when he said a house divided against itself cannot stand. So now the United States is doing what the USSR did. It is imploding. It is a house divided against itself. How many decades has the CDC been in existence? And how many decades has the CDC been the vanguard for pandemics and viruses that threatened the population of the United States? And at what point in history did the people of the United States refuse to listen to the scientists of the CDC? Or any president come out and suggest that the CDC should not be listened to? When did that ever happen? No, it only happened when you decided that you wanted to go back to bigotry, racism, tyranny, and the things that you said that you condemned back in the 60s. President Johnson, he signed into law the civil rights and bills and the equal opportunity things to try to right some of the wrongs that you did to us while you was always coming up arguing. I'm talking to you white people now. You come up to the Muslim talking about that was our fathers. You can't blame us for what our fathers did or whatnot. Now, who is it that's doing it? It's you. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us. He said, everything they gave you, they're going to take it back. Yep. Yeah, that's what you're doing. So, see, you now you're acknowledging that if you had your way, you'd do the same thing your fathers did. That's all we wanted to know. Was did you really mean it when you said it was your fathers? And now we got our answer.
It's very, very tough because if you keep lying about someone, preposterous accusations, that there can be some people to hear that often enough are going to believe it. But that's just the way it is. I can't change the fabric of society about social media and how it works.
I want to read.
You remember I told you that you can't stop people from thinking hateful things about you. if that's what they choose to do. But you can stop it from being true. Huh? That's all Dr. Fauci is a proof of. I mean, he's proven that. I mean, that man ain't got no time to be going back and forth with people about the lies that people telling on him. That man's history speaks for him. The good that he has done for this country and the people in this country, whether they appreciate it or not. I'm not sitting around here worrying about what these people around here, just like the people, all of the good that you saw, that's on tape, that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was doing for the black man and woman of America, especially in particular the black people that was in the Nation of Islam. We know what he did for us. It didn't make no don't and didn't make no difference how many of them ungrateful people decided they was going to try to defame him. The only thing they wind up doing was defaming and disgracing themselves and proving what he said. He said, you're the most silliest people on earth. Can't nobody do nothing good for you. He said, don't nobody want you but God and myself. He said, you are so crazy. Nobody wants you but God and myself. And that's the truth. He said, you go behind him. He said, you go behind me, trying to get the people to deal with you instead of helping me. You minute you hear me going somewhere, you rush over there and ask them, why can't they deal with you? He said, well, why didn't you go before me? You're commercializing off of the wisdom of another. But no, you just low down. He said, everything I try to do is for all of us, not just for myself. But you want to go in for self. I want something for self. He said, we will put a stop to you if we have to go to war. Now, I'm here, and I'm making war, holy war, on all of you that want to rob the people. You don't care nothing about the people. You care for what you can trick them out of to give you out of their pocket, and what you can't trick them out of, you try to figure out a way to pick their pocket, steal it. You know, I'm looking. You're gonna regret these things. You don't see me trying to steal and live high off of other people sacrificing. I don't do that. My conscience would be on me. But not you. You don't care. You can't sacrifice. But okay. All right. Well, I'm telling all of you, you better use me for your example. Don't be looking at some of these who say they following me and you see them doing something that you don't see me doing. Huh? What's wrong with you? I'm on your side. I want to see all of you live good. I want to see everybody living good. I don't get no joy out of watching people, I don't care what color they are, eating out of a garbage can. Living in old broke down, wore out houses. Well, one day we will all have nice homes. We will have nice everything. It's things that I'm patiently waiting on Allah to bring about. And I suggest you follow me and be patient too. Am I clear? All right. So, but you see Dr. Fauci sitting there, just as calm and collected, huh? Answering things that Ted Koppel asked him. And he seems to be at peace. Huh? Because he have not did nothing to harm anybody.
You a quote from an epidemiologist at the Johns Hopkins University. The question was raised, when does the pandemic end? And she said, it doesn't end. We just stop caring, or we care a little less. What do you think?
We are now at 70 to 75,000 cases a day. And
did you hear that? Right now, in the United States, when he said we, I'm assuming he's talking about the U.S. at 75,000 cases a day.
Over 1,000 deaths.
And over 1,000 deaths a day. He said that's totally unacceptable.
It's an unacceptable point to say we've got to live with it. Absolutely. If you get it way, 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 way down below that, well below 10,000 a day, that may be something that we can ultimately live with. So to say that, yes, we're just going to stop caring, we got to be careful and make sure that stop caring when you don't notice it, not stop caring when it's still killing 1,000 people a day in the United States.
A couple of years ago, it was not uncommon for us to lose 30,000 Americans a year to the flu.
Right.
Is that an acceptable level?
No, it's not. The difference between influenza and COVID-19 is that we don't have a very good vaccine against influenza. So we cannot accept a high level.
And for Ted Koppel to put that in there, to make it look like it's comparable, 30,000 people dying from the flu a year is equivalent to about 82 people a day. Not 1,000 a day. Huh? And you know what? A lot of the people that die of the flu, you know why you die of the flu? It's because your immune system is already overtaxed, trying to deal with all that poison that you done ate, eating pig and everything else that you ain't got no business. You got all these extra things that your immune system trying to fight off, and then the flu come in and overrun you. Do you understand? You wind up with pneumonia or something that your body just can't fend itself off. The human body is not weak. The human body is perfect. But we destroy ourselves by what we put in our bodies and how we treat our bodies. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I can, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught me how to eat to live. Let's look at the words. How to eat to live. And I started eating the way he taught me back in 1973. I've been eating basically one meal a day. And I remember I used to hate to eat because I felt so good when I was fasting that, when I'd eat it, just bring me down. I'd be, be ready to go to sleep, maybe felt drugged. And, right now, I can't do that now because I have a lot of things on my mind. I ain't gonna say that it comes with the territory, stress. But anyway, the when I was 22, I started eating like he taught us. I would eat one day, and then I would go back on a fast. I'd skip 2 days and eat the third day, and I kept doing that for a long time, and I just felt so good when I was not eating, and gradually I got back to just eating one meal a day. But even right now, I see the truth of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave me that I share with those of you who listen. Allah, if God didn't teach him how to teach me how to eat to live, why is it now that I'm 70 years old? I'll be 71 in a few days. And I can still, not as good as as fast as I used to, but I can still run. I mean, literally run. I ain't talking about look like some old man trying to run. I can run. I can jump. The aging process and the destructive nature of the aging process has been slowed down. That's why I truly believe, brothers and sisters, that one day the scripture's going to be fulfilled, that the last enemy of man that shall be destroyed is death. You know why? What is death? We don't die because of time. We die because we don't understand how not to. Think. White people, you listening to me, tell the truth. Don't you remember when the average lifespan of your people was about, Alexander didn't live but 35 years. You done lengthened twice. And I'm gonna tell you something else. Benjamin Franklin was 80-something years old when he died. And they didn't have near about the technical knowledge of medicine and all of that. Just the living of a trying to live an upright, decent life. Look how long Benjamin Franklin lived without any hospitals and emergency rooms and crash carts and all that kind of stuff you got, and you don't hardly live as long as Benjamin Franklin did. Don't you see that something is wrong? Why are you willing to accept just wasting away? Why don't you trust in Allah's word? He made us a promise that eventually, if he said the last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. The scripture says, when the man that wanders out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Well, he made us a promise that there is nothing hidden, including eternal life and how to attain it, that shall not be made manifest. To make manifest is to give light of understanding. For the nature of light is to make manifest. Is that right? That's not me talking. See, that's your error. You keep thinking that I'm standing up here, that I'm giving you my wisdom. I ain't giving you none but what I heard from the Word of God. Where's that at in the scripture? We know that that which makes manifest is light. Where's that at?
Ephesians chapter 5, verse 13.
Ephesians chapter 5. And my brother said 13. What did that? But all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light. For whatsoever doth make manifest is light. What's wrong with that screen, man? Is that which makes manifest is light. There is nothing hidden that shall not be made manifest. I mean, think for a minute. We see miracles all around us, miraculous things. And miraculous things have become everyday happenings to us, so much so till we forget how miraculous they are. A good example is these pictures that you see in that screen there. I didn't hear you. Knowledge made that possible. You talk about going flying to here and flying there as though it ain't nothing. As if man has always had that ability. But man did not always have that ability. But the grantor of dominion, God, the truth, made it possible. Huh? Man, I had to bow when I saw them showing pictures of what's on the surface of Mars. They even showed how that helicopter that they sent there, the little helicopter on that rover, took off and came back down, showed you that they control that thing from here. And, had programmed it and everything. And it's just amazing what knowledge can do. Huh? And then we send our children to schools that actually discourage them from seeking knowledge. Mm, mm, mm. The last thing that children should be when they are in school is bored. School should not bore you. Don't hold them back. Take them as fast as they are capable of going. When they seem to be beyond that level, move them on to the next level. Make learning fun. And it's always fun when you actually are learning something. And whatever they are most interested in, let them learn it. And teach them that all knowledge, no matter what field, it is valuable. Because at some point in time, I walked over there at the high school. In fact, you look at them floors over there at that high school. I got them in the habit of looking being done on things because I used to do maintenance work when I was a youngster. And I was looking at them floors over there, they look like glass. I said, boy, whoever doing these floors, they on the ball. I even told our brother, hey man, you go over there and look at them floors over there and make them floors in our school look like that. And but look, many things that I don't know if the children have paid that attention, but look at them floors when you walk it in. Look how beautiful it's kept, and appreciate that. And don't be looking down on a janitor. If you think that is so easy, I could ask you one question. Can you keep that like that? Do you know how to make it like that? Everybody, there is dignity in all work that benefits society. People go out and take it for granted. But I've seen we put trash out and whatnot, and we look at it over there and never give it a second. The next thing you know, you look over there and it's all gone. And we should give thanks that there are people who come and pick that trash up and take it to the dump. That is something that we need, that is being supplied. So how can you look down on the ones who do it? Without them, your trash would keep on piling up, and some of you wouldn't even bother to do nothing with it. Just stack it up over there and turn your whole yard into a city dump, or turn the streets into one. And I'm going to tell you something. When I see these young men being brought up and down the street to pick up paper and stuff off the street, I promise you, young brothers in the city, you ain't picking up no trash I threw out there. I do not throw no trash out of my window. It's a simple thing to put a bag in your car to put your trash in. And when you get home, put it in the trash can. Stop being nasty. Anyway, we have a lot of growing to do. But I'm going to let Dr. Fauci finish here. I have great respect for him and the scientific community in general, because I know that without them, the situation in this country and all over the earth would be far worse. And that low-down Donald Trump would be dead now. They saved his life.
Of deaths to COVID-19 when we have a vaccine that could prevent it?
If we had a chance to do it again, should we? Do we find the...
If you want to know what I was talking about 82 people dying a day, which is too many, but this 82 is a long way from 1,000. Huh? So Ted Koppel, he didn't have to even interject that. Just divide 30,000 by 365.25, and you'll get 82 I'll tell you in a minute. You'll get 82.1355236. You can just say 83 people a day dying from the flu. And I'm assuming they're talking about not just the flu itself, but from complications that was brought on by the flu. You understand?
Acceptable point to say we've got to live with it. Absolutely. If you get it way, 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 way down below that, well below 10,000 a day, that may be something that we can ultimately live with.
Well below 10,000 people getting infected with COVID-19 a day. Well below that, he said. That may be something we could live with, but not 75,000 people a day. And over 1,000 a day dying from it. That's one out of every 1,000? Or 10 out of every 1,000? That's unacceptable.
So to say that, yes, we're just going to stop caring, we got to be careful and make sure that stop caring when you don't notice it, not stop caring when it's still killing 1,000 people a day in the United States.
A couple of years ago, it was not uncommon for us to lose 30,000 Americans a year to the flu.
Right.
Is that an acceptable level?
No, it's not. The difference between influenza and COVID-19 is that we don't have a very good vaccine against influenza. So we cannot accept a high level of deaths to COVID-19 when we have a vaccine that could prevent it.
If we had a chance to do it again, should we? Do we find the right man or woman who is so highly regarded, so trusted, that we put it all under his or her control?
If we had a country where people realized the importance of a communal effort, then we could do that. But that's not where our country is right now. Our country is divisive.
And I guess
they did used to trust the health of the American people to Dr. Fauci and the scientific communities, the CDC. But they done tripped out now. Huh? Because you got people that want to actually dissolve the union, that have been working at it for ever since that the President Lincoln forgave them who made war against the United States. Do you understand? They never quit. They just subtly kept working undercover, infiltrating the government and working to undermine it. Do you understand me? Okay.
Point out that 20 months ago, we thought that nationally trusted figure was a fellow by the name of Anthony Fauci. And for a while, it looked as though you were.
Right.
And then
I didn't create political divisiveness. And that's the thing we're dealing with. We're dealing with the uncomfortable but real element of political divisiveness at a time when we are in the middle of a war against a virus.
No, but in a few weeks, you're going to be 81 years old. It would not be unreasonable to say, you know something, folks, I've done what I could. See.
That's not the way I look at it. I'm the head of an institute that actually played the major role in the development of the vaccines that have saved now millions of lives at COVID-19. I'm the director of the institute that has now been very important in the basic research in leading to the drugs that will now have an important impact in the treatment of COVID-19. That's what I do. So I'm going to keep doing that until this COVID-19 outbreak is in the rear view mirror. Regardless of what anybody says about me or wants to lie and create crazy fabrications because of political motivations.
Now, if that's what a real man that's dedicated and that stands for something, that's what you would expect to hear from him. Instead of all of these people who, if you ask them, what have you done for anybody? If Dr. Fauci stopped doing what he's doing, what do you have to save the lives of people who may contract COVID-19 or die from this virus? What can you do to help stop it? There's nothing. It's just like them who would like me to stop teaching. You ask one, okay, if the Son of Man stopped teaching, what do you have to invite us to? What? They got nothing. Now, here's another one over here that in Portugal, they interviewing what's happening in Portugal now.
You will have to learn some form of martial arts. Like I'm adamant about, it's dinner time fodder. Don't sweat it. The real people in your life know who.
In MMA gym, I learned. This song in Portuguese is about change, a constant with the coronavirus. But from this
story in country after country, COVID exacting a terrible toll. That was true in the small nation of Portugal as well. But then things changed a lot. Seth Doan has a postcard from Lisbon.
This song in Portuguese is about change, a constant with the coronavirus. But from this overlook in Lisbon, with the sun peeking through, things looked pretty good. Having weathered the storm of COVID, at least for now, Portugal is emerging a shining example, one of the most vaccinated countries on earth. Trams are again packed, so are restaurants. Roughly 98% of those eligible here have been vaccinated, compared to about 62% in the US. And organizers of Lisbon's Web Summit Tech Conference saw companies shift their stance on attendance.
Amazon told us in September, early September, right, we're in, and that was followed by Facebook, Google, Apple, and Microsoft.
Were you watching the vaccination rates?
Yeah.
While you were planning?
Yeah, massively, yeah.
Web Summit CEO Patty Cosgrave told us Portugal's vaccination rate was the single biggest consideration as they worked with authorities to increase the number of attendees to about 40,000.
The vaccination program was led by the military. A top Navy official spoke at Web Summit in all of his gear, and it worked. Whatever he did, I think it had a profound effect, dispelling concerns that certain parts of the population might have about getting vaccinated.
I appeared on the public always in my combat suit.
Why did you wear your combat suit?
Because it was a war phase.
A war phase?
Yes.
A former submarine commander, Vice Admiral Enrique Gouveia, was put in charge of Portugal's vaccination effort in February. As the country struggled with a deadly third wave, he saw it as a war with no neutral parties.
So there is only two sides. Are you on the side of the virus, helping the virus because you don't want to be vaccinated? Or are you in the side of the community, of everybody?
Portugal is roughly tied with the United Arab Emirates for fully vaccinated citizens, more than 87% of the entire population. The admiral says Portugal's success was due to organization, communication, leadership, and another factor.
Because I'm not a politician and I make the process outside the political struggles.
You think that was important to depoliticize this?
Yes, clear, that was very important.
People here are very keen to get the vaccine.
Guillermo Romano runs this vaccination center, which was busy with those getting COVID boosters and regular flu shots. He says Portugal's state healthcare system has had a robust vaccination program since its battle against polio in the 1960s.
People are used to get the vaccine, their children to get the vaccine, their grandchildren to get the vaccine. So it's a normal health procedure.
But across Europe, COVID hotspots are re-emerging. Infections and deaths are spiking in Bulgaria, where only about 22% of the population is fully vaccinated. The World Health Organization warns 500,000 people could die across Europe before February. Are you watching the numbers tick up in other European countries as people start to go inside, and are you getting concerned?
Of course, we are concerned. But right now, we still have lower cases comparing to other countries, of course, and we have this defense of the vaccines.
People could look at Portugal and say, wow, you've had such high vaccination rates, but you still see the virus circulating, you'll still see people wearing masks.
Yeah, but you don't see people dying.
Maria Mota, who studies infectious diseases at the Institute for Molecular Medicine, says only a small percentage of Portuguese are anti-mask. History offers some context.
But we know that freedom is something else. We have lived in a dictatorship until 1974, so we know that removal of freedom is something else.
A face covering doesn't seem troublesome compared to 4 decades of fascist dictatorship. And Mota adds, masks are not going away anytime soon.
Of course, this is a virus that will stay here. So we need to learn how to live with the viruses.
Despite their progress, Mota says celebrating Portugal's vaccination rate may be premature.
I think our success doesn't mean anything if it's not success for everyone. I think one thing that this pandemic came to remind us again and again and again is that we live in a global world.
So she added, we can celebrate when the entire world replicates the vaccination success of this little country.
You see, people that are not scientists, including myself, I'm not a scientist. So all I can do is humble myself to those who are more knowledgeable, who are scientists. And the scientists telling us that the way a pandemic works is that if you don't vaccinate the entire planet, the virus has the ability to mutate. So no matter what you do in part of the house, it's like putting a fire out in a couple of rooms in your house, or putting a fire out in a part of a forest, while the other part is burning, and you talking about, well, we got this part out, but it's still burning, and it's going to keep spreading. And after a while, if you don't stop that virus from continuing to mutate, pretty soon those who was vaccinated, the vaccine, that virus may mutate to a form where the vaccine doesn't work on it no more. I mean, everything, it's just like a horse. You notice a horse. Horse is a very noble creature. But that horse don't want you in the beginning. The horse don't want you riding its back. And so they used to have to break the horse to do it. Now they got other ways of doing it. But you jump on his back and he want to get you off. That's the way that virus is. That you interrupting its lifespan. It don't see no reason to change. Who do you know of that's been some way a long time and you try to change it, it fights you, don't it? Huh? That's what mutation is. It's the virus fighting to stay around here. It's fighting for what it thinks is a threat to its life. So you got to fight it wherever it is. You got to fight it. You got to be prepared for it, waiting on it. That's what that vaccine does. Is if you vaccinate all of the public, when that virus comes to a certain people that's vaccinated, it can't spread. It gets converted. It gets either killed or converted. Then you have broken the chain, and it can't keep mutating. But you got these people walking around here, don't know nothing about nothing, don't know nothing about the virology, listening to other people who know as much as they do, which is nothing, and they're all quoting each other. So I'm telling you, the scripture says that except those days be shortened, the days of the pandemics and pestilences and famines, except those days be shortened, there would no flesh be saved. I mean, it's even infecting animals. So be intelligent. Like that commercial when the man was doing the tattoo, and the man said, "Don't you need to draw it on the?" He said, "Stay in your lane, bro. Stay in your lane." When you hear me telling you to get the vaccine and that kind of thing, I'm not telling you that from myself. I'm telling you that from people who are the scientists, not the politician. If I'm going to trust somebody, I'm going to trust somebody who's supposed to know, not someone who just finds what I want to hear and then tell me that. Because they want me to vote for them or want me to, a fool is a fool because he ignores the truth. And he always, if he lives, he will always live long enough to regret ignoring the truth. So, Dr. Fauci, he's about 10 years older than me. But he's certainly a whole lot older than me when it comes to the study of viruses and the dangers that a virus poses if not dealt with. You remember Smokey Bear they had him come on and he had said one little match can start a great big fire, a forest fire. Huh? Just one little match. Huh? One little microscopic virus can set the whole family of man and animals on fire and wipe us all out if gone, if left alone, unchecked. Oh, yes, the immune system would eventually get a handle on it, but not before civilization is dealt a death blow. You just can't ignore fires, man. That's something you learn in the military too. Go to sleep, but set up a fire watch. Huh? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you go. It's 10 o'clock, a little after 10. So unless somebody had some questions or whatnot, now those of you who decide that you want to keep trying to put forth some excuse when you have a scientist that is uh, someone that is truly a scientist, you bring them in here, I'll listen to them. But don't come in here trying to tell me about some ivermectin and that kind of stuff, and the scientists done told you that that stuff is for animals and all that kind of stuff, and that ain't going to help you against COVID. But yet you still listening to these pseudo scientists out here. You don't go to a doctor looking for advice on plumbing. You go to a plumber. You don't go to a dentist for brain surgery. You don't go to an airplane pilot seeking advice on how to drive a 18-wheeler. So I don't know how you messing around here going to the internet and QAnon and all them for advice on how to deal with a pandemic. The CDC been there dealing with pandemics a long time before you heard of anything called QAnon. Now, if you want to go on and follow these crazy folks, well, just remember, you're known by the company you keep. The only people that follow crazy folks is other crazy folks. Yeah. To a crazy man, everybody else is insane. You had people that followed Jim Jones over there to his little escapade. And when some of their people tried to tell them, hey, look, where you going over there with that man? That man talking about he's snatching cancer out of people and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to go over there with that man doing that. They wouldn't listen. Now the majority of them that followed him are dead. And they died at his hands. Okay. You better, never trust people who want you to follow them based on who they are and the truth that they know and have shared with you. Do you understand? Because who they really are is determined by the truth that they share or the lack of truth that they share. All right. Bless us, keep us safe, and in our right minds. those of us who respect the truth. For the truth is actually that which will keep you in the right mind. The truth is what connects us to reality. And what makes us insane is our disconnect from reality. Okay. May Allah bless each and every one of us that believe in the truth and accept the truth. May He bless us with a peaceful and pleasant night's rest and sleep, and a happy, peaceful, and pleasant morning's rise. May Allah's Salam Alaikum.